Oh.
I remember right there's a hole in it.
Oh, perfect. It's a little early to have soaking wet feet.
Yeah.
Take 643. Terrible voiceover. That's the first thing that we need to understand together. Now, one of the guys that watches my videos, Mike Burnett. Hi, Mike Burnett. Thanks for watching videos. And you brought up some good questions, like why haven't you reviewed the suspension? I've meant to. I've actually started this video a few times. It's hard to know what to do. He had some key questions. So, how do they perform? How are they set up from the factory? Whether I ride them shortened or not? Spring rates. I'm assuming that he means do they come with the default spring rates, or can you customize those? Good or bad? Pluses over the stock forks. Are they worth the kind of money that you need to spend to get them? Question number one: how do they perform? Well, compared to the original forks, God, we could spend a lot of time on this. But in short, significantly better. Significantly better. The confidence that like real forks give you is especially at speed. It's phenomenal. Now, the Xtrainer forks, I said this is in the other video, they try to kill you. Like going over these whoops, a couple, cool. But once you start hitting them in a row and you can't double them, like let's say you don't double them, like let's say just say you're kind of whooping through them, no wheels up, no doubles. Man, that front suspension would get so compressed and just rebound you almost off the bike. There wasn't a lot of adjustment. I softened it up, I hardened it up. There was really nothing I could do to make myself comfortable going fast on this bike. Now, obviously, if you're looking at this, you've probably looked into different things you could do with stacking shims, changing shims out, blah, 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 blah. And by and large, I don't think most people were happy. And in the end, I really just wanted an enduro suspension, something that I felt comfortable going at speed on. I mean, yeah, we do a lot of slow technical stuff, but we also try to cruise fast. I'm not the fastest rider out there for sure. Certainly on the original suspension, I was probably half as fast as I am now. And it's a lot of fear that the thing was going to try to kill me on slow rocks and stuff. So this brings me to the next question. So we'll try to parlay that into how does this perform against the old suspension. Now, the old suspension was sold to you under the idea that it was going to be good for technical riding, that it was going to mimic a trial suspension, super soft, and stuff like that would make riding slow, and I'm assuming over bumpy, rocky, large rocks, easier. And maybe that's the case. I definitely liked it in that application. Now, we've done some of that since, and I don't think I noticed a big difference between the Sachs suspension and the old original Xtrainer suspension. That's me. Now, I'm not looking for a big difference. I for sure don't want to feel a big difference, but I haven't really noticed a big difference, honestly. Now, speed-wise, that's where things change. It's a real suspension. It's as good as any. It's closed cartridge. It's that Sachs suspension. They've really got that thing dialed in now. Maybe it wasn't as good in the past, but in my opinion, it's very good now. So, how does it perform? How does it perform against factory? I'd say it performs well. So going over whoops like this was after the suspension was in. This did not feel uncomfortable at all. In fact, I can now kind of learn to ride whoops a little bit better. I can start trying to double them, and it's kind of fun. I don't feel like, oh, God, a whoop section? I'm going to try to go around all this stuff. But not anymore. Now I kind of look for it. It's fun. So, next question. Are they shortened? No. I didn't shorten them. I am large enough at 5'9" to still basically flat foot. These were actually did come a little bit taller, but I think they've softened up enough to where I don't remember there being a big difference between the old Xtrainer suspension and the new one. Spring rates, they come. So if you're like a 160 pound rider, great. They actually come with those. If you're heavier or lighter, you feel like you didn't need a different spring rate, you like a different spring rate, you'll request that as part of the build, but that will cost you additional money for the springs. So bear that in mind. If you're 160, great, you just saved a little bit of money. So when you order them, they'll ask you a series of questions like, what do you ride, what level rider you are, what kind of stuff you like doing, what's your environment, blah, 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 blah. And they will take, respring. I don't think they revalve, but they definitely set, all the adjustments, clickers, yada, 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 to how they feel you would like it. Now, out of the box, I've said this before, I love it out of the box. I haven't changed anything. It felt perfect. Now, they might have just got lucky. Or I think maybe I just am so much happier that I haven't really put a lot of thought into like, this could be slightly harder. No. Great. I love them. So if you buy the rear, now you will purchase the spring rate for your weight or the spring rate that you like to ride. So that's all part of it. That one supposedly, I don't know if this is true for sure, but that one supposedly valved for the type of riding that you like to do. What I thought was cool is they kind of give you a sheet with all the settings they said and stuff for later. Like, let's say you were adjusting things and, man, you just couldn't get it back to the way you liked it. You kind of made a mistake. You have the sheet that they give you, and you could always be like, okay, 12 out from bottom, blah, 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 and you could set it all back up the way they have it. So I thought that was a nice addition. I mean, you are paying for it. Final. Last question. Let's try to do this. Unfortunately, I could tell you, I could use words and try to tell you whether or not this is worth it. But until you ride it, you kind of just have to commit. So if you hate the forks that are on the Xtrainer, give it a go. If you can. They're for sure spendy. If you can, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Now, the question is, you could, given that they're in such high demand now in a lot of places, certainly here in Colorado, sell your Xtrainer. Sell it. Buy a double R. You totally can. This kind of leads to another one of Mike's questions. Like, I think he may have been asking, is it worth it? Is it worth keeping the Xtrainer? For me, yes. I love this bike. And I love it because of the size. It feels like a 125. Honestly, that's it. And the more I can make this enduro capable, or at least capable of riding fast, the happier I am. I hate the way, I don't hate, okay, that's probably a strong word, because if you give me a double R, I'd probably ride it. I just like how much smaller this feels. It's more flickable. It's easier to throw around. It's way easier to throw around. And anybody that rides it, that's what they say. Like, man, this feels so small. It feels like a 125. It's a 125 with a power for 300. It's great. It's great. So is it worth it? If you love the bike and you love all the other features about it, its size and stuff like that, the fact that it's a little bit detuned, it's easy to ride, then yeah, it's worth it. If you can check those questions off. If you're looking for something faster, like this isn't enough for you, trade, sell it, trade it in or whatever, buy a double R. Chalk it up to bad choice. I love the bike, and I'm trying to make it more lovable. And the only real complaint I ever had with it was the suspension. And this was always going to happen. So take that for what you think it's worth. And, you got to make your own choices, though. Right now, going over rocks at speed, like those softball size rocks, like I don't feel like this thing is going to kick me off anymore. There's always little things with any suspension where you hit something just right and it wants to kill you, but it's not consistent anymore. It's not a consistent death wish that my front suspension had for me. Now, bear in mind, through all of this, I also changed the rear shock. It's better for sure. I think they pair up well. And if you're going to do one, hell, why not do the other? The same things that kind of suck about the Xtrainer forks translate directly to the rear shock as well. It's soft, not a lot of adjustability, and it will rebound you into the trees sometimes. It'd like to buck you off. Was it worth the money? For me, yes. Again, I already covered this before. We talked about whether it would be better to buy a double R, and it really depended on how much you personally like the Xtrainer. Again, I love it. If I can pay that much money to shrink a double R down to a Xtrainer size, I do it. But that's basically what I'm trying to do now with this bike, is just kind of up the potential of the Xtrainer to what the double R can do. Now, I like 99% of the people that own these bikes will never utilize them never utilize even this bike, certainly double R, to its fullest potential. That's just, we're not part of the 1%, but some will. I'm not that guy, not yet anyway. So hopefully that answers some of your questions, and hit me up at my email. It's in my About tab. I will help you in any way. I'll answer any questions. Leave comments, questions below. I will try to answer them to the best of my abilities. And hopefully this is helpful. And Mike Burnett, you're welcome. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please ring the bell. All right, bye-bye now.